What is up, Steeler Nation? Pittsburgh Steelers fall to the Baltimore Ravens in a disappointing turnover fest by the Steelers offense. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be looking over some social media, Twitter, knee-jerk reactions over the game that just occurred. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to ring that notification bell. That being said, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. So the Pittsburgh Steelers lost. It was embarrassing. And, instead of just giving you guys my knee-jerk reaction, let's pull off some tweets from the interwebs and react to what some people are saying about this game. And let me know what you guys think in this comment section if you like this episode or this type of content. Might be doing this every Monday after a game for the next few weeks while the Steelers have a game. So let me know in the comment section what you think. So the first one comes from Minka Berg Steelers. Mitch Trubisky getting revenge for benching him by single-handedly ending our season. Oh, man. Mitch Trubisky wanted to go out there and give the big finger back to the organization for benching him in the first place, huh? Yeah, well, that possibly could have, thrown his chances of ever becoming a starting quarterback in the league again. I doubt he did that, but that's a possibility. Let's look at the next one. Blitz guy says, Yins to Trubisky when he threw the interception. Never let that bro cook again. He burned it down. Not in a good way. That's definitely true. Next one comes from James, the Maestro, M-E-D, at Jimmy Jeffro. Should have just said that. It was a lot easier. Some of y'all got Deontay Johnson jersey in your profile pic talking about fire Tomlin. Makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny. I mean, Deontay Johnson hasn't had the greatest year. But you know what? Now that you mention and you bring up the fire Tomlin crew, let's see what they have to say about this situation. Walkaway Republic says, Mike Tomlin isn't qualified to be the assistant head coach, to the assistant coach. Wow. So he's like an offensive line, defensive line coordinator. That's insane. Man, the guy has one bad season and everybody wants to tank him. That's insane. He's worse than he shouldn't be the assistant to the assistant coach. That was funny. Foolish Banana. He woke up to see the Steelers lost to a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team. Get rid of Mitch Trubisky, fire Matt Canada. At this point, you might as well fire Mike Tomlin as well. Have him burn it all to the ground and start all over because this is embarrassing. Oh, man, just burn everything down to the ground. This team hasn't developed. This team hasn't made steps in the right direction. I told you guys before this game started that with this team, you want to look at the little things. You want to look for basically you want to find the developmental pieces. You want to see the pluses. And I said in this game, don't be surprised if you don't see that this is a divisional game. This was a division rivalry and a game that, in my opinion, ended up playing out, to a low score game that always end up being a low score game. It is what it is. Let's see. Darren Iron Lion says, Steelers need a clear house this offseason. It starts with Tomlin in Canada and work your way down. Another winnable game where execution was absent. Wait, so you're blaming the execution was poor, but you're also blaming the coaches because the execution was poor? Terrible play calling. Mitch was horrific signing, and the OL is still a dumpster fire. Pathetic. I think the offensive line only allowed for 2 sacks. They actually played pretty decent in pass coverage. One of them looked pretty bad just because it ended up being what sideline Kenny Pickett. But for the most part, in my opinion, the team did well moving the ball. It was just 3 picks that costed them the game at the end of the day. It was the 3 interceptions. If it wasn't for those 3 interceptions, this team is moving in the right direction. Now, I may have lost myself, so let's see where we're at. I found it. Next guy is Liam Thomas. He says, bring back Big Ben. Fired Tomlin. I'd say Tomlin was washed up, but that would imply he was ever anything but trash to begin with. Dang, man. I guess those 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl trophy in the case was just you know, it was under Bill Cowher's team, right? That's a bad take, buddy. At the end of the day, everybody has a bad season. Go look at all of your Hall of Fame coaches, and they all have a losing season somewhere down the line, and including Bill Cowher. In fact, it took a 6-10 season to get Ben Roethlisberger so the Pittsburgh Steelers could get to the success that they're at now. Let's see. Now let's talk about some other stuff. This is Nick Farbar from All Steelers Talk. Sorry if I butchered your last name, buddy. He goes, Miles Jack called the final sequence of the game for the Steelers devastating. Multiple guys said they knew what was coming, but simply couldn't get the stop. The game was in with reach, and they got first when they needed it. We didn't. It sucks. My response was, the Ravens should fire their coordinator since we knew what they were going to do. Hey, man, I talked about this last time. When somebody knows what you're going to do, it looks bad one way if you're stopping it. But if you can't stop it, you're going to continue to do the same thing and run the ball down their throat until there's like just what they did. And so, in my opinion, it is what it is. Sorry about that. I was hearing some noises from here. Anywho, if you know what they're going to do, that's not always a bad thing, especially if the opposition can't stop you. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Alex Kozora from Steelers Depot writes, Mitch Trubisky is the first QB to come off the bench and throw 3 interceptions since ... Kenny Pickett did, replacing Mitch Trubisky in week 4. They're the only 2 quarterbacks to do so this season. Clearly, though, Trubisky INTs were more they were bad. I'm not going to try to pronounce a word I can't say. But yeah, nah, man. The 4 interceptions, some people are looking at that and saying, hey, they're both trash or whatever the case may be, or Pickett isn't that much better, or Trubisky's not that much better. Both were bad games, and in my opinion, both of them were trying to build a spark. I mean, Mr. Trubisky said it in his post game as well. He was trying to provide a spark and got overly aggressive. Now, the problem with Mr. Trubisky is, he's been a guy his entire career that, eyed down his receivers. He locked them in, really didn't look off the safety or do those types of things. In my opinion, he just, for whatever reason, couldn't do it. And that was the situation here. He locked in on 2 of the times and didn't look off the safety on a third. And in those situations, they reared their ugly head and they turned into turnovers and really bad opportunities and opportune moments. I mean, you're looking at scoring drives in the money zone where, you score a field goal or just a field goal or put any points whatsoever in those situations on at least one of those drives. It's a different ball game. And so totally understand. Now let's see. We got some hope, guys. Say it with Blitzberg. Steelers would have to win out and go 9-8 while holding their breath in regards to the playoffs. Playoffs. Yeah, Steelers got a chance. You're saying there's a chance. Mathematically, they're not out, but for all in purposes, I don't think there's a realistic opportunity for the Steelers to get in. They don't hold very many tiebreakers. Losing to another AFC team is really going to put them in the hole. Yeah, I think this season's a wrap, guys, when it comes to that. Now, what we're going to look forward for the next few games is going to be development, understanding this team still continuing to build and develop those next steps. Try and attempt to still be aggressive and put points on the board. Losing the game isn't as important as gaining those skills and that experience. And so at this point, be a little bit more aggressive when Kenny Pickett comes back. And I don't foresee him coming back this game against Carolina. This is potentially his second concussion. He was pulled out of this game after he went back in. It was reported he was stumbling a little bit. And so with that being said, I don't anticipate him being available for this game. I think if he is available, he may be cleared in time. But given the fact that he is a rookie and isn't going to be participating a lot in practice due to the concussion protocol, then in my opinion, um, you're looking at probably starting either Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph. I personally would rather see Mason Rudolph at this point. Two reasons. One, uh, we know what Mitch is and what he has. And I'm not saying that we don't know what Mason is. We do as well. But Mason's not going to be here next year. If Mason can go out there and in this one game against an opponent that's, let's face it, not the best team in the world, he may be able to put up some stats that could increase his value in free agency. And if he increases value in free agency, that could equate to a potential comp pick the following season. And so we can get something back from Mason Rudolph out of this game for playing well. And if he doesn't play well, then, what difference does it make? It's not like we're going into the playoffs anyways. So we have one last tweet to look into, and I think it's the most realistic one, y'all. Bill Crawford says the Steelers are the Steelers' only realistic path to the playoffs is to win the NFC South. He's not lying, y'all. There's really no realistic path to go in on the AFC side. There mathematically is there still a chance? Sure, but realistically, probably not. You would expect this team to do something that they haven't done all year, and that's win several games in a row. The Steelers managed to put 2 in a row against 2 bad teams. Now, the teams that they have left on the schedule aren't the best teams in the world, but they still do have to play the Baltimore Ravens again. And the next time that they play them, more than likely they'll be facing Lamar Jackson, not Anthony Brown or Tyler Huntley. And so, with that being said, it's going to be a tougher matchup with Lamar Jackson in there versus the guys that they face today. It's Dunskies, y'all. I'm sorry, but it is. But the season's not over. There's still a lot to learn and to progress. And I'm still going to be here, still going to be watching, still bringing along this content, and still, hoping for my team to win and praying that mathematical possibility, as unrealistic as it is, does happen. You never know. Any given Sunday, things can happen. It's going to be a long off season, in my opinion, though. So let's enjoy the next few games. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget to let me know in the comment section if you like this type of content. With that being said, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers.